All right, hey everybody. Back. Back from a long road trip. It is Anthony Stewart here, Food for Thought. And yeah, so just wanted to give a little shout out to the subscribers of this channel. Thanks for being here, and hopefully we're starting to change the way you're thinking about the relationship you have with your diet, food, wellness, lifestyle, health, all that stuff. And the job I've put on, I'm trying to do here on this channel, it is called Food for Thought, and we're challenging everything they've ever said. And I'm trying to inject some logic into hopefully into your lifestyle, and an interesting spin on what might or may not be healthy for you. And yes, and today, wanted to just give an update on how I'm doing. I feel pretty good. I was on the road for a long road trip, halfway across Canada, pretty much, and I'm back. And I food prepped, did my best to eat, fatty meat, and didn't get much exercise. Tried to get as much sleep as I could, although sometimes it is called life and it gets in the way. Now I'm back and I'm able to regroup. I'm going to get back on the breathing. I've been still taking cold showers every day, and I think it's doing some great things. And today, talking to some people, called my mom and found out that there's still people getting sick with what, and this might relate to it in a certain way. And I just want you to this is the topic today. Are you eating like a lab rat? Most of you will say no. Here's some crazy things to think about. Food for thought. First of all, what is foie gras? Fatty liver. It's a delicacy. How does that happen? I'm not promoting this, shove grain and corn, force feeding goose or geese to eat this, causing a fatty liver. That is how you fatten a liver up. Corn and grains. Interesting, hey? That's first and foremost. Now, when we're looking for steak, we want well marbled. We want carnivory aside, when you're looking at a piece of meat, the arguably to say, like, this is the Wagyu beef and the Kobe beef, the more marbling the steak has, the more flavor it has. How do you marble up meat? Feed them grains. Corn. That's how you do it. Isn't that interesting? So is your muscles, is it getting well marbled? Or do you want that lean, grass-fed, grass-finished muscle that's strong and dense? Choice is yours. So that's an argument. Now, getting back to my are you being a lab rat? I wrote some things down. So let's talk about this. The standard American diet, if you Google it, will say 2,100 calories. 2,100 calories every day, standard American diet, arguably the healthy caloric value, which, I would argue calories are bullshit, but that's what it says. 2,100 calories, everybody. No matter how big you are, small you are, that's the optimal caloric value. That consists of 16% protein, not specified by the source, 47% carbohydrates, 36% fat, and 22% is allowed to be added sugar. Interesting. So let's talk about the protein. Not only does it not specify the amino acids or the required complete protein, it just says 16% protein. So when you're reading the package, you say you crude nitrogen, you're getting 5 grams of protein, blah, 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 blah. As long as it's 16% of your diet, you're healthy, right? 40% carbs. Now, if you Google it further, will be 6 to 11 servings per day allowable by grains. What? Okay, that's sure. Okay, so that's what they tell us to do. Most people are doing it. 36% fat, to be in the form of low saturated fat, high polyunsaturated fat. We know from this channel that that's a little bit wrong. Okay. So now I'm going to hammer you. When they are studying mice and rats in a lab and they need to fatten them up, they give them something called obesogenic rat chow. What does that mean? Obesogenic, creating obesity, fat generating. And if you break down the macros of that diet, and I had to write this down to be certain, 15% protein, 45% fat, and 40% carbohydrates. Sorry, 40% fat. I misread that. 40% fat, 45% carbohydrates. Within 2% difference of the standard American diet is this obesogenic rat chow. That's at the macro level. That's not even micronutrients. That's not even vitamins. That's not minerals. That's the category for obesogenic rat chow. Shift that over to on a macro level to human beings, you have the standard American diet recommended daily values. It does not take a scientist, a doctor, from which I am not either, to think that is absolutely nuts. So how do you gain weight? Carbs and fat together. Donuts. That's what that is. That category. Now, if you go to myplate.gov, Google this. You will see that they separate the plate and they tell you what to do on your plate as far as protein, fat, carbs, and dairy and all this stuff. They point down to how many carbohydrates you should be consuming. Is that not ludicrous? Am I ludicrous for even thinking this way? But it's amazing that this channel is called Food for Thought. And if you look at that right there, you have a society driven towards arguably obesity on a macro level. That's what they're telling you to eat. So people think I'm crazy for adapting a very low carbohydrate, high protein, high fat diet. I've never been leaner in my life. And is that the way to do it? Not necessarily. I think there's a lot of different ways. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit more in detail. On my trip this time, I listened to an audiobook. I had about 40 hours of driving, so I had a lot of time. And I've talked about this doctor before. He's a pediatric endocrinologist, retired, clinically practiced clinically for 30 years plus, MIT graduate in nutritional physiology, nutrition, and dealt with sick kids. A pediatric endocrinologist. His name is Robert Lustig, and his new book, Metabolical, as much as the research and the science and the things that I can figure out for myself, it's very hard to put it all together. And in this book, right at the introduction, he lays it on the table. What is the enemy? Processed food. It's arguably poison. And I'm going to be dissecting this book, Metabolical, by Robert Lustig, in the videos to come, because there's so many things that tie into each other that are relevant in just changing your mind. And I'm not trying to preach my bias. I'm not trying to make you do something that I've done. I want, and I'm challenging you to start thinking about, is it possible that the stuff that you're putting into your body is not making you well? And the stuff that they have said is good for you might not be. So we're going to get into that a little bit more. I just wanted today to hit home foie gras, well marbled steak, American Standard Diet. What do they all have in common? They all are obesogenic. Interesting. This is what they're telling you to eat. But yet, when we're studying lab mice and lab rats to get them fat and sick, we feed them the exact same macros that American Standard Diet is. That is fascinating to me. And yes, we are not mice and we are not rats. They do a lot of studies on these things, and animals have certain physiology and biology that are similar. To me, this hits home. There's a lot of people out there that'll preach this, but it's fascinating. And this channel is food for thought, and I want you to think. And I just wanted to lay that out there today. We're going to get into some crazy things soon. I'm starting a new BBBE challenge with a friend of mine because, you know what, I think I'm due for a little bit of a reset. And yes, that's the way I'm going to do it, with beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. 30 days. We're going to see what happens again. I'm very optimistic about the results. And that is it for today, guys. I want you to stay strong. I want you to think. Please think with your brain, not with your wallet or what they're telling you to do. Okay, the research out there, I'll post some links. If you think I'm crazy, Google obesogenic rat chow macros. Google American Standard Diet macros. Google myplate.gov. These are made from the Dietetics Association. This is what they will tell you is healthy. Throw in some logic in this. Throw in some rational thought in this. Critical thinking. All that stuff. Stay strong. See you later.